What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Pro. Welcome back to a brand new video, man. The Miami Heat have just won a game in which they were missing Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier, Josh Richardson, Nikola Jovic, Thomas Bryant. They came out with the dub. Amazing performance, and not just one dub, bro. A dub against the Sacramento Kings, who have absolutely been red hot. 5 seed in the West. We just knocked them off. It was damn near a blowout until, we did the typical Heat stuff and we blew a lead, blah blah blah. But apart from that, period in the fourth quarter when the Kings went on a run, I did think Spo could have used one of his timeouts. I know he only had 2 left, but bro, when the Kings are I think it went from 17 to 6 in a blink of an eye. At some point, you gotta do something about that, or maybe just take a foul or something. Just stop the clock, stop the momentum. I think he should have done that. But I mean, that was the only really thing that was the bad part of the game. Apart from that, everything was amazing. The team was hooping from the start. We set the tone. I mean, offensively, they were clicking, man. They were making all their threes. The recipe for beating these teams when we're shorthanded is to shoot a bunch of threes and knock them down. Hopefully, that's the recipe. Hope that they knock the shots down and just take a bunch of threes, because without Jimmy, without Tyler, obviously the paint attacks are gonna be a lot less. But I did like to see a kind of de facto Jimmy Butler tonight in Jaime Jaquez, man. He was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know off the top of my head his exact stat line, but I think it was around 20 to 22 points or something like that. I mean, he was crazy. He was really good. From the start, he set the tone. Or not 22, I think it was closer to 24, 26, because during the end he had a couple of buckets too. Yeah, he was insane tonight, man. He was really good. And yeah, not just him. We had contributions from everybody. Everybody who played tonight made an impact. Cole Swider and Alondas only really played 2-3 minutes here and there. But apart from those two, everybody else, when you look at, I don't know, the top 7 people who played tonight, the 7 people who played tonight, they all made an impact in one way or another. Everybody made an impact. You look at Bam, you can go down the line. Bam, 28, 7, 2, 10, a block. He was insane. And he completely dominated Sabonis. Sabonis is good, and Sabonis is, has always been a good center. But Bam always takes it personal against the top dogs. He always seems to go off against them. Not even go off. He always seems to just play above what he normally does. He raises his level whenever he plays these top centers, and that is because he's out to prove a point. 28, 10, and 7 is a really good game from Bam. That's one of the best games of his season. I think the best game of his season was probably the game against the Lakers when he had 20, 20, and 30 on AD. But apart from that, this is up there. He was all over the place. Defensively, offensively, I mean, he held Sabonis to only 14 points. I know Sabonis had a triple-double, but a lot of Sabonis' triple-doubles are basically I don't want to say stat padding, but it's in that shape or form where he's not really you don't really feel Sabonis' impact throughout the game. I mean, he was a minus 15. He had the second to worst plus-minus on the whole Kings team. So Bam, on the other hand, was incredible. He had, 28, 10, and 7, like I said, in 36 minutes. Jaquez played the most minutes on the team. Or not Jaquez, actually. Duncan played the most minutes. But Jaquez, like I said, 26, 5, and 2, and 3 steals. I'm looking at it right now. The defense was crazy from Jaquez. He was getting into passing lanes, causing deflections, wreaking havoc. Haywood Highsmith off the bench had 15 points. He was knocking all his threes, or most of his threes. Now he was 3 for 5 from 3. He was getting those little push shots. If Haywood Highsmith is knocking his threes down, this team becomes very dangerous, because then it's if he's knocking his shots down, you already have an elite defensive player right there. Probably one of the best perimeter defenders on this team, and if not the best. Maybe that's a hot take, but I think he's definitely top 3. But Haywood Highsmith was really, really good today with his offensive contribution. I thought the defense is always going to be there from him, but sometimes he kind of just goes into this mode where like teams can just help off of him, and that's what the Kings were trying to do, but it just wasn't working because he was just knocking his shots down. And when he does that, bro, this team becomes unstoppable, because then you are like, oh my gosh. As a team, we didn't even shoot that well from 3. We only shot 37%. I mean, the Kings, in fact, shot better from the 3 and from the field than we did. But the difference was we got to the line 25 times. We shot 80%. They only got to the line 12 times, and they shot 58%. They had 4 more turnovers than us, and that was the game. You know, we won the hustle stats. I think the rebound difference was only 2, and they are a much bigger team than we are, especially without the players that we have that are not available. So it's not even like we went lights out. People are going to be like, oh, they made every shot. I mean, we only made 11 threes. But Haywood Highsmith hit a couple of very big threes, man. He was all over the place. In the first half, in the second half, he was scoreless. In the first half, he had 15 points. That really, really, really helped us. That really helped us stay afloat in the first half and eventually take the lead at halftime. Kevin Love, off the bench, had 19 points, 2 for 3 from 3, getting to the free throw line and ones. I thought he was incredible. Tonight. He had one of his best games of the season. He had 7 rebounds, 19 points. That is very, very good from K-Love right there. And that's exactly what we need. You know, when K-Love's shot is falling, he becomes a whole different player, because it's like when his shot is not falling, what more can he do? Tonight he showed his ability to get into the paint and post up a little bit. I just thought the Kings were playing very naive defensively, just switching smaller defenders onto our bigs. It was very easy for K-Love to get and ones when he was being guarded by Davion Mitchell and Chris Duarte. But yeah, Kevin Love had an incredible game tonight. And Duncan Robinson, who only had 4 points, had 11 assists. He led the team in assists. He kind of played that point guard position. He was 0 for 6 from 3. But the thing about Duncan is he was the player on this team who played the most minutes and who had the highest plus minus on this team by far. He was a plus 25 tonight because he had 11 assists. He was running the show. You know, the shots he took from the interior, he was able to knock them down. He didn't really, knock down threes, and he was missing a lot of his mid-range shots. I think he had 1 field goal and he had a couple of free throws. But man, he was very, very good with this playmaking, facilitating, finding guys, especially dribble handoffs. And he found K-Love a couple of times. He found Bam a couple of times. And he's just a very smart player, man. Duncan Robinson's IQ is very underrated. People talk about his shooting, but he is a very cerebral basketball player, and you got to give him props for that. We have 2 more players to get to. Caleb Martin, I thought, set the tone in the first half, man. He was everywhere. He was making shots. He was, defending. He was just doing a lot of the little hustle things that we see Caleb usually do. The big exclamation point was obviously that huge dunk to kind of seal the game. And that basically just put the game out of reach. So, yeah, I would definitely say Caleb Martin. He is a guy that I do want to see him slash more because he's so athletic, man. Caleb Martin is very athletic, so I don't really want to see him just spotting up all the time. He's a hot and cold type shooter. Again, another one of these guys where if a shot is falling, it just becomes a different game for him. You expect guys like Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love and some of these guys to knock the shots down, but guys like Caleb and Highsmith and even Jaquez, who don't really shoot the ball that well from 3 and who don't really take as many as the shooters on our squad, when their shots are falling from the perimeter, it's just very hard to stop this team, because that's when this team is so dangerous. So definitely got to give Caleb props. And the last guy I want to talk about is probably one of my favorite players that we have added to this roster in a long time, and that is Delon Wright, man. I've been talking about Delon Wright since the trade deadline even started. And I was like, bro, Delon Wright is a guy that if we don't make any trades, he is the first guy we'll look at in the buyout market. And lo and behold, we got Delon Wright, and he was amazing. 13, 2, 5, 2 steals, a block, 60% shooting from the field, 50% from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. I mean, Delon Wright was everywhere, man. Those 2 threes in the third quarter were huge, were absolutely huge from Delon. And listen, man, Delon Wright is so good defensively. I mean, the job he did on De'Aaron Fox. I know down the stretch Fox kind of did his thing, but before the fourth quarter, I will say Delon Wright held De'Aaron Fox in check. I mean, he had 7 turnovers. De'Aaron Fox had 7 turnovers. Now, obviously, down the stretch, he did his thing. He had 11 points in the fourth itself. That was 11 out of his 27. That was his highest scoring quarter. But apart from that, if you take that out, if you take the fourth quarter out, he had 16 points, and he shot the ball terrible from the field and from the three in the first 3 quarters. 2 for 5 in the first, 4 for 6 is pretty good in the second, and 2 for 6 in the third. I mean, I thought Delon did a very good job on Fox and Herter. Whenever Herter was trying to get loose, he would be chasing him around and making sure that he never really shot the ball that well from 3. Herter only shot 2 for 9. The biggest problem was that Keegan Murray was getting lost by either Jaime or Caleb, and he was getting left wide open for 3 every single time. He had 28 points. So that was the biggest guy on their team that was really making a difference. Is Keegan Murray was the guy that I was like, do not let him shoot the ball, because he is automatic, and he has been since Iowa. So super happy for Delon's debut. I mean, he's a hound defensively. Offensively, he just makes all the right plays. I haven't seen Delon Wright make many mistakes throughout his career. Like, he's always a very heady basketball player. Like, he knows what to do. He's steady. You know what you're gonna get from him. He can occasionally hit the timely shots. Even if you're not expecting the scoring from him, he can set up other guys. He had 5 assists tonight, and he's always going to bring it defensively, which is why any championship contender would love to have him on the roster. And I'm so fortunate. I'm so thankful that the Heat were able to snag him at the deadline, because this could be a game-changing pickup for us. People are saying this might be our new Oladipo. I mean, we'll have to see, but Delon Wright played a really, really good game tonight, man. And he deserves a lot of props. Now, I do want to shout out this team, because it's not been easy, and I know the schedule is going to get, only tougher. We play Portland actually next, and Portland's not that great of a team, so that should be a dub too. I mean, we've won 8 of our last 10. So we're on a 4-game winning streak. We're currently 6th in the East. If we can keep winning, and kind of get that momentum, I do feel like we can catch definitely the 5 seed, but maybe even the 4 seed if we keep going. I do want to make sure we stay in that top 6. I think a team like Philly, who's without Embiid, could fall out potentially. Even a team like Indiana, who's currently in there, Orlando. I want to make sure we separate ourselves from those 3 teams at least. If we play New York in the first round, that's fine. I think that's my prediction right now. Come back to this at the end of the season. I think the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks are going to be playing the 4-5 matchup come May, which is, I think, when the playoffs, or is it April or May when the playoffs start? I think it might be April end. So yeah, man, we're going to leave it right there. Make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought about the victory versus the Kings. And yeah, man, I'm signing off. I'll see y'all later as always. Peace.